Greetings, YouTube. The Doctor is in. Dr. Urias Papers here, coming at you with another commentary on Dungeons & Dragons. And today we're talking about the spell Elemental Weapon. We're giving this spell a solid C. But first, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. If you like this video, hit the like button. And if you have any questions or comments, please leave a question or a comment. I almost feel like this should be a second level spell. There's a few things in this spell I don't like, and that is the major reason that we're giving it a C. It has several very severe limitations. So first off, it is only usable by paladins, artificers, forge domain clerics, and hexblade warlocks. So not a lot of classes can use this, and the ones that can use this, almost all of them, except for the Forge Domain Cleric, cannot upcast the full amount of this spell. So, it's a third level spell. It takes one action. It has a range of touch, verbal, and somatic components. It lasts for an hour, and it uses concentration. So, I guess there is that. I'm using Magic Weapon as a comparator, which also lasts an hour and is usable by almost all the same classes: paladins, artificers, forge domain clerics. This one lasts an hour, and it also is concentration. You take a non-magical weapon. So here is the first. This is the first limitation of this. You take a non-magical weapon, and it becomes magical. Most of these classes down here that can use this, artificers and hexblades, are going to have an ability that gives them a magical weapon anyway, so this spell then becomes pretty useless. So when you touch that, you choose one of the following damage types. So it can do acid, cold, fire, lightning, or thunder. For the duration, the weapon has a +1 to attack rolls. Now, there's a difference between the wording in this spell and the wording in Magical Weapon. In Magical Weapon, it says that weapon becomes a magic weapon with a +1 bonus to attack and damage rolls. This one says the weapon has a +1 to attack rolls and deals extra damage of 1d4 of the chosen type that you chose when you cast a spell. So obviously that doesn't stack with other magical bonuses. I don't know why they even changed the wording of this spell versus magic weapon. It just should say that weapon becomes a magic weapon with a +1 bonus to attack and deals extra damage, blah, blah, blah. So it should be exactly the same wording, but it's not. It's different. It sounds to me like two different people wrote these spells. They didn't actually, I don't think they researched this spell very well when they created it. And a D4, so this is the other hit, this is the other strike against this. A D4 of damage is not great. That is really not great. Compared to some other spells that are third level, that's horrible. I mean, relative to other spells at third level and this power level, that is not great. So a D4 of damage. I mean, the only thing I could think of that you would actually cast this spell or use this spell is if you knew that you were going up against creatures that were vulnerable to a certain damage. But again, the damage of the weapon, they're not vulnerable to that. They're vulnerable to the D4, which means it would not be a D4 damage anymore. It would be 2D4. So it would go from 2.5 average points to 5 extra points. That's not great for a third level spell. So you can upcast this. So this is the other mark I have against this. Mark 1, strike 1 is you cannot use it again on magical things. Strike 2 is the damage sucks. Strike 3 is you can upcast it, but you can upcast this twice. So if you use a 5th or 6th level spell, the bonus becomes a +2 and it does 2d4 damage. And if you use a spell slot of 7th level or higher, it becomes +3, and the extra damage is 3d4. However, paladins, artificers, and hexblade warlocks can only cast up to a certain level of spell, and they cannot do 7th level spells. So only the cleric can upcast this to 7th level. And I don't really see clerics being frontline fighters. I'm sorry, some of you out there think that clerics can be frontline fighters. They're not, and they can't be. They have to take a feat to get a lot of different stuff that is just for free with paladins and fighters who really are the frontline fighters. So, so that's the third strike against this. And the last strike against this is that most of these classes, by the time they hit the level which they can cast third level spells, have magic weapons already. So the paladin, by the time the paladin can cast this spell, they are 9th level. That paladin had better have a magic weapon at 9th level. And so you can't cast a spell on that weapon that paladin has. He has to cast it on a non-magical weapon. Artificers, by the time the artificer can cast a third level spell, they are 9th level. They're half casters. And in addition to that, the artificer gets infusions. And where is it? Artificer infusions. Artificer infusions are extraordinary processes that rapidly turn a non-magical item into a magical item, and that item becomes magical. So if you have an enhanced weapon, then the magic weapon grants a +1 bonus to attack rolls, and it's magic now, which means you can't cast a spell on it. So that it's out for artificers. The Forge Domain Cleric is the only one that I can think of that actually could probably use this spell. But again, I don't think that clerics should be frontline fighters. And the Hexblade. So here's the Hexblade. You get the Hex Warrior, which allows you to touch a weapon that you're proficient with that lacks the two-handed property. And you can get rid of that if you take Packblade. We're going to get into that. And then when you attack with the weapon, you can use your Charisma instead of Strength or Dex. And if you have the Pact boon of Pact of the Blade, you are proficient while you wield it. And the weapon counts as magical for the purposes of overcoming resistance and immunity to non-magical attack damage. So your Pact Hex weapon now is magical, which means you can't cast a spell on it anymore. So none of this is good. I'm giving this a solid C, and I think that's being generous. There are many other third-level spells I think that Paladins, Artificers, Forge Domain, Clerics, and Hexblade Warlocks could be casting that are better than this one and could be concentrating on. That's the other thing, and concentrating on. All right, that's what I got for everybody today. I hope everybody enjoyed, and I will catch everybody later.